I had visited the draft board, and the man told me that I would probably be next month's pick with some others. So one weekend afternoon while I was in Wichita, it just happened to be there was a movie being shown, and it was called The Jumping Jacks. And it was Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. And it had to do about them being in the Army and going through paratrooper school and being paratroopers and jumping out of airplanes. And I thought, wow, that looks interesting. You know, I'm going to wind up in the Army. Why don't I do something like that? Glamour, you know. I was one of those young bucks that I wanted all the life I could get. So Monday I went to the recruiting office, talked to the sergeant. He was all enthused. Yeah, he hadn't recruited a paratrooper in some time. And he was telling me how glamour it was going to be and all that. And he said, you know, the way he put it anyway, it sounded to me. He said, you get $50 extra a month pay for jumping, being a paratrooper. Well, I thought he said you get $50 a jump. So I thought, hey, I go out and make me 3 or 4 jumps every day. Then that's $100, $150 a day. That's more money than people make all month long. So anyway, I signed up. Company commander called us over, all of us that were going to go to paratrooper school, and he says, you men have to be really tough and really physically qualified to go to this school. He says that you're going to have to go through another 8 weeks of basic training. Well, we didn't really know it right at that time. But the war was still going on. Everybody graduated from basic training, automatically went to Korea. And they were short. And they had too many, I guess, from what they counted, going to jump school. So they wanted to weed out the sick and the I don't care and those who really didn't have the esprit de corps to go. We lost about 4 or 5 out of that right there. They said, no, I'm not going to go 8 more weeks to jump school. Okay. You had 5 jumps. You practiced on the tower, 250-foot tower, and you had the 38-foot jump tower where you were all harnessed up on a pulley cable, just like you'd probably seen Rangers slide down the cable. You jump out, you had to get your body just right to jump, and you had to get that so many times. Many guys got washed out on that. Many guys just couldn't take the day-to-day endurance and physical ability you had to put out to, because you were always running everywhere you go. My first jump, I forgot about that. My first jump, I tangled with another man in the air, and we twisted up. But they had told us what to do about that. He kept wanting to pull his reserve parachute, and I kept looking around and looking up, and we're doing like we're doing all right. We're coming down at a fair rate of descent, you know. I said, just stay like it is. Oh, when we got down, why, we both got chewed out for tangling up in the air, you know, like it was our fault. I was the only one that got my senior paratroop wings. You had to have at least 35 jumps, and that was like unheard of practically, that you would get 35 jumps in 3 years. Because normally, unless they had exercises, you got to jump once a month. And some months you just didn't get to jump because of whatever reason. the planes weren't ready or whatever. So I think I had about 38. They'd have maneuvers, and my company commander would always ask me, Ross, would you like to be a radio operator for Major so-and-so is going to be an umpire out in the field? And he says, you get a jump out of it. I'll go. I came in on the 89th day, 1 day short. And they gave me orders and we had to go. My parents boxed everything up for me and held them till I told them where I was going to be. Then they mailed us. We couldn't wait around for it. So from there, I went, they put me in the Army Security Agency, and I can't talk about any of that, but they sent me to Japan. I had 3 years over there. Loved it. I came back. I was ready for re-enlistment. The re-enlistment sergeant says, I see that you're airborne. I said, yeah, but I haven't been the past 3 years. He said, we're starting up a new Pathfinder team, Fort Rucker, Alabama. He said, we need people to be in that team. He said, I think you got communication experience. I said, okay. He says, good. I said, fine. I need to jump the pay. So I went to Fort Rucker, Alabama. I took over this Pathfinder team, which gives navigational aid to Army aircraft. You parachute in advance of the main body and you set up the landing zones or helicopter landing zones. And while I was there, I got a set of orders. And it says, you report to APO whatever, San Francisco, and you're going to the Republic of Vietnam. I asked, well, where's Vietnam? I don't know. You know what? No, I don't know where Vietnam is. And I asked several field grades. I don't know. Well, this lieutenant came back next morning. He says, I was looking around and he said, I think that's French Indochina. I said, I've heard of French Indochina. Okay, I don't think. He says it's somewhere up there around the Philippines or up in there. So I got the geographic books out and I looked up world geography. I found where Vietnam was. World Airways, prop airplane. It took 3 days to fly there. You flew to Hawaii, then you flew to Guam, you flew to Wake, you flew to the Philippines, then you flew to Vietnam. After leaving Hawaii, we were having spaghetti that evening. You know, I always run into everything. So the stewardess was serving the meals. She had them all out there. Hit this air pocket. The plane went up, came down. Spaghetti went all over me. All over my khaki uniform. Oh, I had to sit there until I was able to change, get that stuff off of me. We stayed at a place called the North Pole Hotel. It was for NCOs. It had other ones for officers and other ones for lower ranks. We were there about a week and they couldn't find jobs for us. And I finally went back to personnel one morning and I said, look, if you don't have a job for me, just say so. Put me back on an airplane and send me home. I said, I've been up here in this stinking room with 4 other men for a whole week. And I said, I want a job. I want an assignment. Get me an assignment. That afternoon they got me one. Told me, be out front, vehicle picked me up, took me to Tonsanute Airfield. They put me in this little two-seater aircraft, flew me for about an hour and a half, landed in this little old dirt airstrip that I didn't know where. And these guys showed up there, 2 Jeeps, and loaded the bear with all kinds of weapons, and got me off, and shook my hand, told me who there was, and welcomed me to a place called Zook Me. It was D-U-C, which we always call duck, but it's Zook, M-Y, my, duck my, Zook Me. It was a cadre place for advisors set over the side of Highway 1 that kept about 35 of us, maybe, officers and senior NCOs. And we had advisors to the Rangers, to the artillery unit, to the Arvin unit, to the self-defense, what you call National Guard. We found out every morning we went to our jobs in various vehicles to various different places. We'd come back here in the evening, you know, and that was our home. That was about as un-Army as the Army could be. I was there when Kennedy got assassinated. We were all locked up for 7 days until they decided if we were going to continue on back in Vietnam or not. Yeah, everything was strange. Yeah, I was moody and edgy, and I kind of lots of times wanted to be alone and didn't want anyone around me. And I'd get with the children for a while, and then I had to get away from them because they upset me and nerved me, and you know, get off by myself and come back and kind of stuff like that. I couldn't sleep good at nights, and I'd have my nightmares like a lot of guys did, and sometimes I'd be sleeping on the floor instead of the bed. And work your way through it as time goes on, you know, and so much luckier than so many that had a much harder time than I did. I came in at the end of the old Army when men were proud to be soldiers, and they were proud of soldiers. And you had your professional privates. They would be the best soldiers that you could ever find for 30 days. You let them get paid, they'd go to town, they'd get drunk. If they had a PFC stripe, they would lose it. Most of the time, they just gave them the pay, let them go, bring them back. They would be dead broke. They're moving pretty cheap. But dead broke. Then they'd be the greatest soldiers for the next 30 days. Whole Army. But then after Vietnam came along, all these various different kids from all over the United States, they didn't want to go. They didn't want nothing to do with it. You had your flower power back here. You had your hippies. You had everything, you know, going on. It was terrible. Your old Army was gone. No more old Army. It was all different stuff. I loved the Army. It was great. It was my home. I was one of those professional soldiers. It gave you a purpose. It showed you how to be responsible and dedicate yourself to a cause, and use through your camaraderie with other soldiers to form a lasting friendship, and not only be responsible for yourself, but for those that you're appointed over as a leader, whether it's a squad leader or platoon sergeant or or whatever, that you have to look out for other people. You're responsible for them. And it gives you a sense of purpose, a well-being and understanding, and makes a man out of you.